Biodiversity offsets are an interesting concept. Indeed, one RSPB we've been looking into for a number of years. And I think essentially it's needed to fit into the last part of the development hierarchy, if you like. So just like the waste management hierarchy, you should be looking to avoid, reduce, and then compensate in terms of any impacts of development. And what we don't have outside protected areas are mechanisms particularly that well established in terms of compensating for lost habitat and the species that go with them. It's quite well established for the most important sites. There's a clear framework for that, but it's beyond that where I think there's real added value. In the UK, we haven't yet addressed how biodiversity offsets can be used as a new tool both for conservation and nature conservation and for business. And I think this is an area that we can learn from countries like the United States, where it's quite clear there needs to be a national mandatory framework, there need to be clear national standards, there needs to be measurement, and there needs to be enforcement. It needs a clear regulatory regime around it, and we also need to recognise this is not a magic bullet to suddenly override and bust every development constraint, but is something to augment what we've got and actually how we can then enhance benefits for species and habitats, as well as enabling business development to take place. The big question right now is how do we scale up? How do we, many people are recognising the benefits here for customers, for business, for the environment. How do we actually get the bigger and better on this? And I think the crucial ingredient is leadership, by which I mean a long-term vision and the ability to have confidence in that long-term vision. So that needs leadership from government, there needs to be policy certainty, there actually needs to be a clear regulatory framework that drives innovation, drives investment, and then it needs leadership on the part of business to see that actually in the long term this will be a long-term sustainable return for their investors, and we're seeing convergence in many businesses now with that. And of course it needs leadership on all of our part to have a dialogue, because this is new ways of thinking. It has challenges, there are definite pitfalls, but at the same time we desperately need to do this if we're going to build our natural capital on which the wealth of the nation depends.